It's your boy Johnny. Back in here with one more reaction video. And it's been almost a full 6 months since I went on this Jubilee show. So I'm going to try to knock out another reaction video to it. I did the initial reaction, and YouTube flagged it and said I went against their community standards. But you know, right back ain't cheating. And I even went better this time. You see, I got the actual survey because we're going to show you how Jubilee some hoes and how they lied and how they edit this show to make humans not like each other. The media wants to create division, and I'm going to expose that in this video. Also, if you're one of the young men or women that take time to send me private DMs to say, you suck or you're an embarrassment, hey man, I love you. I hope you heal. And I hope you forgive me because I'm not sorry for nothing I said at all. So let's get into this video and we're going to have some fun. Be nice. If you start talking too reckless, we're going to have to block you. And I don't want to hit the Heisman on them O's, but let's do this thing. When you're young, you're not thinking. And everybody has made a bad choice. And because you're stressed out, you go change your gender. Because you want to try something new, once you do it, you can't go back. The more you throw stuff at kids before they develop, that's indoctrination.
When Jubilee created Middle Ground, the intention was to uncover humanity.
And let's start off all automatically. Bro, I don't believe that stress would make you become gay or trans. However, they play a role in a society like we have that is very fragile, where 80% of black children are growing up in a single parent home, where 38% of white children are growing up in a single parent home. When we all are constantly bombarded with so much information coming from all different angles, you don't know what's real and what's not. I grew up in a homeless shelter, and I worked at a private school for the last 6 years. It cost $20,000 a year. And the grade school was petite through 8th grade, so 2 years old up to about 14, 15. And the high school was high school, but it was an all-girls high school. So I've really got a chance to stick with the kids in the hood and sit with the kids who get 2 BMWs for their 16th birthday. So my perspective is really wide. And what I understand is the truth isn't being taught in the public schools, nor is it being taught in the private schools.
Humanity and empathy shared among strangers with opposing beliefs. Whether your political beliefs are on the left or the right, we all exist within our own echo chambers. So for this episode, we partnered with Ground News and created a test that can analyze your news sources and show you their biases. The participants of this episode agreed.
Let's go back right there. Where did I say that? No, we don't. Cancel. Go too far. We don't see Johnny's biases.
We partnered with Ground News and created a test that can analyze your news sources and show you their biases. The participants of this episode.
That says, if I'm not mistaken, that says I'm 86% to the right. However, the actual survey that I took in the email exchange back and forth with me and Jubilee, I took their name down, but I could put the dudes who I was emailing with if we want to be real. My score say 50%. So already you misleading the youth by making them think I'm some right-wing nut, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I don't study Booker T. Washington and Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X, that I don't look up to Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor and Friedrich Nietzsche. This is what I say when they want to mislead you. We gonna get into it though, man. Come on. 86%. Like I said, Jubilee, y'all some hoes.
Agreed to take the quiz and share their results. We encourage you to do the same.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. Cancel culture is a good thing.
We have the freedom to say what you want, but everyone else has the freedom to respond and cancel you if you say something that is racist, homophobic, transphobic, etc. Cancel culture is definitely good in the means of like deplatforming people who are spreading very hateful messages.
What is your opinion on Trump being canceled on Twitter?
When you go onto Twitter, whatever, you check I accept the, guidelines, the community guidelines, I agree to follow them, and he didn't follow them, so Twitter has the right to take him off the app.
And for people that might make the counter argument that Twitter is biased and will only cancel right-wing politicians, that's not true at all. Twitter and other forms of social media have canceled left-wing activists.
They cancel anybody who tells the truth. Right-wing, left-wing, in the middle. If you're telling the truth, if you're trying to unite people and not be all super divisive, you're going to get canceled because unity is not what is wanted, because that don't make money and that don't sell TV shows and make ratings go up, as I've said.
There is an equal balance on both sides.
You brought up canceling him off Twitter. I'm sorry, I disagree. When the Taliban can use our social media, but an ex-president can't, there is something wrong with that.
Did the Taliban violate community guidelines?
It doesn't matter.
I think it matters to Twitter what their community guidelines are. That's why they banned Trump, because Trump violated community guidelines. That's what every platform has, whether it be TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
The Taliban stones people because they're gay.
If they've done that and they've posted videos of stoning gay people, I agree they should be removed, and that is
100%.
fundamentally wrong. No,
Except
it's not.
the problem is they're smart enough to not do that.
Well,
Well, then
okay.
why wasn't Trump
The
smart enough to
president
not do
wasn't
that?
smart enough.
And I guess while we're making this video now, would you rather have Trump's tweets or would you rather have Biden's gas prices? You know, I mean, we're all adults. We can get on the internet and Google, look up what the economy was doing under Trump, look up the gas prices under Trump, and look at where we at under Biden. And this is the first time in my life I've ever heard, it doesn't matter who the president is. We literally just went the last 4 years saying everything was trash because of Trump. You couldn't get away from this is Trump's fault. This is Trump's fault. This is Trump's fault. So my question to the liberal teens is, what is Joe Biden's fault?
To not do that, I guess.
If I'm an American and I have to vote between this person, I need equal access to both of them to decide what's right. Bro, you could be a Klansman, you could say you hate black people. That's not my job to police your language. I can't expect everybody to love me and think the way I think. All y'all think different than me, that's totally dope. But the fact that you want somebody removed because they think differently, that could be you one day.
Do you think freedom of speech is?
I personally, I want to know who don't like me. I'm a transparent person, bro. Speak your truth. If you remove all the weirdos and the shooters off the net, then you can't know how they thinking. And when they just pop up and go crazy, then what you do? We forget that in America, Abraham Lincoln and them used to sit outside and have 4 or 5 hour public debates. And now ours is edited. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Oh, that's been 3 minutes. Come on, cuz if you really want to know what these politicians, sit down in a long 2-3 hour forum conversation. And it's the same way with these kids sending me these messages. If you really want to know how I think, reach out to me. Sit down with me for 2-3 hours. I ain't scared to talk and I ain't running from nobody.
Something that still exists in America?
We do have aspects of freedom of speech. Like you can't go into a movie theater and yell fire. So obviously there are limits of freedom of speech.
And also one more thing, I heard it was some guy named Hassan or whoever he is. And I know he's made multiple videos, not about me, but just other black men. He's some white liberal guy telling black people how to think. I would love to come to your neighborhood and sit with you, buddy. But I also would challenge you to come to my neighborhood and sit with me and my homies.
But they're picking and choosing who they're silencing and who they're letting talk.
If people react negatively to what you say, it goes both ways. You can't just say
Sure.
that, oh, they
100%.
can't. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
America is becoming less and less safe.
Got an ad coming up.
If you want to eat healthy,
Make sure you eat healthy, everybody. Health is wealth.
I'll leave this to you guys.
So I have a lot of friends that have been in the military for the last 20 years because they refused to get vaccinated. They told me that they would be dishonorably discharged or kicked out of the military. I just believe we're losing a lot of good servicemen with the current situation that we're in right now.
A lot of police officers are down. Crime is up all over. When police aren't there, we're murdering each other at a really high rate. Police are in those neighborhoods because the homicide rate is high. Y'all can
Let's not forget the leading cause of death for black men ages 16 to 44 is homicide.
run around talking about police all you want, but I challenge any of these liberal kids to spend 2 weeks in the environment I grew up in, and I promise your perspective will change.
The one advantage
Hey, real life, when I was 16, the neighborhood drug dealer, Nate, well, we call him Yellow Boy back then, he got shot on my front porch. And he was shot by the guy across the street from him, Leroy, my homie Booby's stepdaddy. We've been at so many parties, leaving, and you watch people get shot and watch the body drop. See, the world is saying, take the police out the inner city. And what I'm saying is if you turn on your local news at 8 a.m. or 5 p.m., they're going to talk about the homicides that happen overnight. And it seems that the masses of the world don't care about that. We only care about black lives after they're already dead. What about prevention? What about teaching these young boys anger management and control? What about taking them to the shooting range to let them know what guns are really for? Oh, but we don't want to do that. We just want to take the police out the way and just let them just police themselves, right? We see how that's going.
We have about being older. We've been through a threat or two. And our enemies, like China, the Communist Party in China, they're laughing at us. Russia's like, we don't need to do much. They're going to screw it up on their own. We need to get the help of our younger people that haven't been through a threat before to realize a lot of what's going on is not good.
OG.
My name is Mike. I'm 59 years old, and I'm a conservative parent. Growing up during the 1980s, that was a huge influence on me, and it formed my views, and the people that I was around is the reason why I'm a conservative parent. I think America should be more middle of the road and not be necessarily more liberal, and if anything, it should be a hint more on the conservative side, because we're going to watch our freedoms get extinguished or encroached if we don't guard those freedoms and make sure that all of our children have a chance to succeed.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I actually wished I came up here for the agreeing section because I think I interpreted the definition of safety the same way that you guys did, but after hearing your guys' conversation, I started thinking about how our American people aren't safe in the face of imminent climate disasters that are coming our way, and how we don't have the infrastructure to deal with that.
I actually very much agree with that, because I think we need to define what we mean by we're less safe now. Do we mean there's more homicides after COVID, or what do we mean?
And bro saying homicides after COVID. No, homicides in general, my whole life. I went to a funeral almost every Saturday from the age of 3 till I was about 13. Whether it was my cousin or uncle or somebody, but it was all family every weekend. And then I turned 13 and I started losing friends. I'm sure none of these little liberal kids know what it's like to go to school and write RIP on your homeboy's locker on a consistent basis. There's the basketball court where I'm hosting my camp at right now on 40th and Wayne is a tribute to Ryan Stokes, who was shot by a Kansas City cop. So I have a good friend, rest in peace, Fatback, who was murdered by a cop. And I'm saying we still need cops in our neighborhood. And you got some kids who ain't ever been anywhere near a hood talking about, well, homicides are only up because of COVID. Do you not listen to rap music, dog? Don't you know YNW Melly got a song called Murder on My Mind? Look how many rappers are in jail right now. It's not a skin problem, it's a sin problem. And until we deal with the sins that we are putting out to the world, we're going to have to deal with those problems. That's all it is.
I'd say before we got rid of half our military, half our police force, slavery was legal. The Holocaust was legal. So we can.
And let's look at right there, man. The military and the police don't have anything to do with slavery. This video was edited. You heard the tone in my voice change. And I'm not knocking them because you have to edit videos, but I just don't understand why those two clips were put together. But once again, Jubilee, holla at me.
Look at all of these mass atrocities and say we're doing what's right. Everybody who was a part of the Holocaust government, they were doing what Hitler said. They were doing what was right. So everybody losing their job for not getting vaxxed, and all the vax people, you got who can we control? Everybody who get the shot, that's who's gonna do what we say. The enemies are coming, and we don't care about them.
And is that not working? Do we not have shortages in almost every place of employment? Do we not lose a ton of nurses and doctors and valuable workers to America simply because they wouldn't take a shot? Which now what you need 4 of them things and a boost? And it still don't stop you. Man, look here. I ain't going to talk too much about that because I think that's what got the video took down last time. But as Frederick Douglass said, man, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave.
That because we want to care about what color we should wear and pride and critical race theory. It's like no one else cares about that but us in America. That's our problem.
So you think that talking about sexual orientation and all that kind of stuff takes away from the safety of our country?
Who you sleep with has no merit in the real world. What does it matter?
Okay, let's just broaden the scope. With the coronavirus pandemic, why did it take weeks for us as a country to mobilize together?
So a serious question, though, is does your sexuality stop you from being successful in life? I think I know some gay millionaires. I think it's some trans millionaires. When I graduated from high school, my high school principal was gay. I could think back to my gym teacher, Miss Jameson. She was gay, but They never talked about their sexuality. They just came, they did their job, and they left. My daughter's soccer coach right now is a gay woman. You know what she does? She coaches soccer. She doesn't sit the girls down and say, hey, let me tell you about my relationship. No, because that's not her job. Because the world doesn't care who you go home to. Right now, if Barack Obama is laying in the bed with Michelle and 2 other chicks, do we care? Do we? No. We've all seen a few clips from the Hunter Biden's laptop. Does anybody care about those little young girls? We all know about Epstein's Island. Does anybody care? Don't seem like it. Just got swept under the rug. Because let's talk about what Donald Trump did.
To fight the public health crisis that was already affecting the nation.
It was a scam to get Donald Trump out of office. It's all fake. It's my opinion.
I agree with you.
I don't think that we could create, or the Democrats could create some international plan, getting all of these scientific communities outside of just the US and even international governments on their side for something that they're just trying to get Trump out of office. I feel like that's heavily ridiculous.
Trump was the...
Yeah, that is heavy ridiculous. Like I said, man, I ain't going to talk too much on this topic because I think it got what the video took down last time. But just look into the World Health Organization. Look up all the communist movements that have been moving through America back in the early 10s, 20s, and 30s. Read a book called Hammer and Hoe. Read a book called Color, Communism, and Common Sense written by Manning Johnson. And then come back and holler at me if you don't think this is all planned.
Was the thorn that nobody saw coming. And they had to find a way to get him out of there. If there's no mail-in voting, 100% Trump is the president right now. 100%.
Also, like I said, you got to be careful what you say. But there's a documentary about mules. And there's 2,000 of them. If you catch my drift, check out that documentary once again and come back and holler at me.
Yeah, because overwhelmingly mail-in ballots were to Biden. That's obvious.
Exactly.
It's not because mail-in ballots are fraudulent, because mail-in ballots...
It's because if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black. So I wonder, with it being Pride Month, if you didn't vote for Joe Biden, are you technically not gay? If you didn't vote for Joe Biden, are you not really trans? It's levels to this. I need somebody to help me and let me know, am I tripping? Or is this how it go? Because if I'm not black, what am I? I did do my 23andMe, and I can put my results over there. It did say I'm 20.2% European. So if I get to use my white privilege currently while Biden is in office, then let me know, cuz.
are actually not fraudulent at all. That this election was the safest election in recorded history.
There's a lot of videos, so you see people with fake ballots, so that's here and there. I'm not.
That's just hearsay from random people on TikTok. Are we really gonna take?
And I don't even have TikTok, little bro. But once again, there's a documentary about mules. And there's about 2,000 of them things. Look, cuz, I really want you to watch it, man. I think you would enjoy the documentary. I promise you would.
That as empirical evidence.
It's personal opinion.
Another ad. And this was fun doing this because, man, I don't know. So much emotion gets put into politics by these young kids. And
my name is Parker. I'm
keep
19,
living, keep learning.
And I'm a liberal. My sisters and I have become a lot more liberal.
And
a lot more left-leaning.
I want you to hear something. He just said his sisters and him have just become a lot more liberal. You show me a black kid that ain't born liberal. Show me a black kid who don't think Obama is God. Literally. Show me, go to any inner city and tell me they haven't been run by Democrats for the last 60 years. And this is why I say the perspective is off, because a lot of these kids who grew up privileged, they're like, oh my God, you poor people in the inner city, you're being treated so bad by these racist Republicans. Bro, Kansas City right here alone has been run by Democrats since 1991. Now look up Chicago, St. Louis, Baltimore, Detroit, Atlanta, and we can keep going and going and let me know, where are the racist Republicans causing the problems? Where are they at? Because they ain't around here, bro. On God.
For time while my parents have stayed a bit conservative. Before, when I was a conservative,
the difference, and this is how I say school indoctrination is working. Because in most black environments, you are liberal. Your mom and daddy, liberal. Your grandparents was liberal. The generation before that was conservative, but they didn't make us forget that. But we got some stats that you see on the front of this screen. But this is why I say the black America, the family unit has been destroyed. This is what's happening to the white family unit. Because now you got the kids not listening to their mother and their father, who's provided for you and raised you and took care of you. And now you go on your own route. But you got to forge your own path, and that's totally fine. But what are you doing? What are you accomplishing? What are you creating? Because Earl Nightingale said, we become what we think about. So are you trying to become successful, or are you just trying to become a social justice warrior? You know? I think there's a quote by Frederick Douglass where he talks about what should be done with the Negro. And he said nothing should be done with it. Just leave us alone and let us figure it out. But look how many kids grow up and become liberal and say, I'm going to stand for change. You know what you really should grow up and do? Create a legacy for yourself. Do something to make your mother and father proud. Because family is what's the most important, man. I'm not going out of my way to worry about what Parker got going on in his neighborhood. I don't care what's on the news. I'm taking care of myself and my people around me. And I wish more young kids who are growing up in these successful environments would keep their environment flourishing. But they coming back and gentrifying the inner city for what? Because the media told you to. Stop listening to the media. Stop being indoctrinated. If you look around and everyone thinks the same, from K through 12, your creativity is stolen from you and your individual thought is stolen from you. Let's not be that way. Honor your mother and father, please. They did a good job raising you.
Kind of just went off a lot of the indoctrination and propaganda that was spread to me when I was a kid. I grew up on the fact that, we shouldn't have increased taxes because taxes are just negatively.
Come in once again. This is why I say that there's a disconnect, because come in the inner city right now. Go to Eminem's Bakery on 31st. Go to Ruby Jean's Juicery on 20th and ask them, do they want higher taxes? The stores around here are closing down like left and right in the inner city. And when these big old tax breaks come through, when they make it out, that don't come to the hood, bro. That's some investor that's already cool with the mayor where that money is going to them. I don't know how old he is, but I'm almost sure he hasn't got a job yet. Because I don't know a real working person who wants to pay more taxes. I remember when I was a kid and I was like, yeah, they need to pay more taxes and they owe us. Nobody owes you a damn thing. Your parents gave you the gift of life. That's all you were owed and deserve. If you don't work, you don't eat. And that's coming from a kid who grew up in a homeless shelter, who didn't have lights, didn't have gas, who didn't have water sometimes. You get it how you live. There is no excuses. If you fall down, at least fall on your back like Les Brown said, because if you can look up, you can get up.
Affecting us. Personal responsibility isn't what a lot of the decisions people make in society is based on. It's mainly based upon their environments.
As a man who grew up in an urban environment, personal responsibility is what makes you sink or swim in that environment. If I don't take accountability for my life, I'm still in the hood, bro. I'm still shooting guns in the air. I'm still sagging my pants, smoking weed. I made a personal choice to become a better Johnny. Right? And my friends can make choices to become better them. I think it's so disrespectful. It's like backhanded, condescending, racist to say, you're not smart enough to overcome your environment. You're just born in a hood, so you're just stuck there. It's other people's job to come pull you out. Why don't you think I can take care of myself, little cuz? Why don't you think all the people who grow up in urban environments can't take care of themselves? How do you not see that liberal policies are the problem, which are handicapping so many Americans for being stuck in poverty? Look at what's going on right now with the economy when we got a Democrat in charge. That's what it's like in the inner city every day, cuz for the last 60 years. I ain't about to say it. You get somebody hitting the Dougie on you from the back though.
How they're socialized by their parents, people around them, things like that.
My news source is more reliable than the other side's.
News source.
When I look at conservative news, I see a lot of conspiracies that I don't necessarily agree with.
Ain't it crazy how all the conspiracies almost end up coming true like 6 months later?
And so if everything comes from opinion and just people developing their own ideas, it just doesn't seem reliable to me.
I feel like the only way we can get unbiased news is in order for news media organizations to stop prioritizing having really vivid headlines that might not necessarily be 100% accurate.
I think that starts with putting people over profit. They want the biggest story or whatever, and they don't want to actually give the news that would be beneficial to our everyday average Americans. And I think that if we put a lot more focus on putting people first instead of the big news or the big story, we can change that aspect of society.
I agree with you 100%. Like I say the civil rights movement is the civil rights entertainment industry. because it's so profitable. Put a police shooting on TV, it's breaking news, every headline is on every social media, you're selling shirts, you're selling signs. That's so much more profitable than showing me and you shaking hands. The news media is literally capitalizing off the emotions of society. No matter how you feel about it, handle it in your privacy of your house. Why? Because if you can do it on camera, somebody's gonna make $1 off of it, and that's not fair to you.
And I would ask you, especially in Pride Month, and every corporation has changed their logo. Do you think Amazon really cares? Does Walmart care? Does Major League Baseball really care? Does WWE really care? Do they? Or is it a way to make more money? I just want to know. There's George Floyd signs popping up everywhere. I think in New York City, was that just where they put the big Afro pick? Is this not all symbolism, a slap in the face? Does any of these corporations really care? Do you think Jeff Bezos was like, man, I'm so excited to switch my logo from the Ukraine logo to the Pride logo, right? Even though July 1, we put that American thing back up, everybody. We all seen the meme where it's like black people during election, Democrats, and show you getting shoved out the car, and then it's showing Ukraine getting shoved out the car, and then literally we got, what's today? Today the 22nd, it's my birthday. Dang, forgot. We got about a few more days, and then get y'all stuff out the way. It's so disheartening. I mean, we've seen what Breonna Taylor call out Black Lives Matter, Mike Brown call out Black Lives Matter. And I think Tamir Rice as well. None of those families have profited, but this Patrice lady can just buy mansions and do all she wants. But the average inner city is still terrible. The homicide rate is still terrible. We scream Black Lives Matter, but no one ever really checks to see what's going on with Black Lives Matter. And so I just got a number to put out there because we care about Black lives so much and we want to save Black people. And that's what these movements are about, bro. From 1882 to 1968, there are a record of 3,446 lynchings. I can't say how accurate that is, right? But whatever. We're going to go there. In 2020 alone, there were 9,941 Black men killed. So, in what, about a 68-year period? Well, yeah, we got 3,400 lynchings of Black men. But we surpass that number every 6 months. And we're running around saying Black Lives Matter. It's white people that are suppressing Black people. And we can't stop killing each other because we're in these environments and we just don't know what to do. We're just so stressed and so broken that all we can do is grab guns and murder each other. That's so far from the truth, bro. But I will tell you, hypnotic rhythm is real. And I will say that thoughts become things. And I will say that your subconscious mind grabs things that you hear over and over and over. And so if the music was different, maybe you would operate on a different frequency. But it's not because you're just innately born to be destructive. I can say that as a man. I've shot a lot of guns in the air. I ain't never felt like taking nobody's life. But I know a lot of people who have. And they're not bad people. They were stressed. And they made a fight or flight decision. We'll keep going.
Young people today are too sensitive.
Man, look. If young people wasn't sensitive, my inbox wouldn't look the way it did after this show. And to all the little kids, once again, who keep sending me these messages, you're an embarrassment, you suck, blah, blah, blah. I love you. I ain't got no beef. I ain't got no negative energy towards you because energy is real. And you keep throwing that negative energy all you want. And I promise it's keep coming right back to your front door. Return to sender.
So I think it's a good thing that young people are sensitive. I think today they can be more sensitive than what they probably could have been 30 or 40 years ago. You know, the growing up was the Berlin crisis, the Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, we had the threat of annihilation, staring at us several times. And a lot of times I go, thank God John Kennedy handled it.
The country has been spoiled for so long. They're trying to make it so a man can't be a man. And if you don't let men be men, then things start crumbling. Society crumbles, families crumble, and broken homes start happening.
And kids need their fathers. So 36% of kids don't have a father.
This was edited as well. 80% of Black children are growing up without their father. 36% of white children are growing up without their father. And I elaborated that in the show as well.
So every boy is, well, my mom is mad at me, my dad don't love me, my dad don't care about me. Maybe I should be gay, maybe I should be trans, I don't know who I am. And Your father puts confidence in you. No disrespect to anybody, but the younger generation of men are soft. And if we had to go to war, they're not protecting America. There's no better place to be as a black individual or whatever you are in America. Go to the Middle East right now and say you gay or you trans and see how they treat you.
And one thing I can say is while I'm sitting in my basement recording this video, there are currently men and women trying to get into America right now, deciding if they want to bring their kids. Some of them are paying somebody else to try to get their kids here just to have a better life. So I can't tell you what it's like to live anywhere else in the world. I've never done that. However, I know I ain't trying to sneak into another country.
Johnny, I'm 32 years old, and I am a conservative parent. My grandfather was a no-excuse individual.
And my papa just passed away like 2 months ago. Rest in peace, Papa Sonny. I love you.
Grew up in the Jim Crow South, but he worked hard. The house that he bought is still in our family today. He had a garden in his backyard.
Oh,
If
God.
you step past a certain line, he got on you. So to watch the men before me who
Now hold on. I'm not the smartest individual. But you see what they tried to do there? Because I'm not saying nothing controversial. I'm just saying open your mind and show me a network outside of Fox News that's not conservative. And let me preface this. I haven't had cable in the last 7 years. I don't listen to new rap music. I read books, bro. And if you ask anybody to follow my YouTube channel, I am not obsessed with culture. But they had to put this 86% to the right is because I know too much. You see this stat right down here. You see 1936, 71% of black Americans vote Democrat. 71%. That's because they thought they was going to get a piece of that New Deal from FDR, right? And then you can go look on speeches right now of Martin Luther King complaining about how black Americans got left out of the New Deal. Factual. So all I'm saying is that so-called party switch that you tell everybody out in 1964, if the party switched in 64, then you got to explain 1936. You can't keep leaving that out. You can't keep cherry picking history. That ain't fair.
really could have been lynched for stepping out of line, who really could have went through a hardship for not doing what society said. The worst thing that can happen to me is I get a mean tweet or a dislike. So I gotta fully embrace who I am, and I know I can create anything with my 2 hands and feet.
And that's not just me though, man. I want to put that out there. That every human walking this earth, literally every single one of us, has God-given talent. If there's air inside your body and lungs and your chakras aligned, however you get down, you can accomplish anything you want. There are no limits outside the limits you set on yourself. So why you let somebody tell your skin color really stops you what you can be, or your gender, or your sexual orientation? See, I don't live in that world. I can do literally whatever I want. Spirit encased in human flesh. But you are too. That's the dopest part about it. But you got to embrace that. You can't listen to somebody else. Come on, man. Don't do that.
I'm Hannah, I'm 17, and I'm a liberal. I really want equality for all, and the liberal policies that
I
have
remember
been
being
passed
17.
side more with my values
I
of
thought that as
equality
well.
for those who are on the LGBTQ, those who are on the gender spectrum. Something about conservative parents that I don't like is whenever I come across them, they seem to be very rooted in their ways and not willing to listen to someone who's a teenager like me. They think,
What if you're a conservative parent, but you work at a high school and you're the head of the social awareness club?
more like, oh, because I'm older, I have more knowledge, which is not necessarily always the case.
Can we have the disagreeer step forward?
This idea that because men are being raised by women that they're weaker is, in my opinion, completely false. Our generation, it's not more sensitive.
Okay, so just true story. Everyone knows that there's a war going on right now. If, hypothetically, America had to go to war, do these two almost 18-year-old boys look like they're going to protect you? If she was on a date with this boy next to her, look at his arms. And I'm not knocking him. He can start doing push-ups right now and get pretty swole in about 6 months. But does he look like he's going to be able to protect her if somebody walks up and says something disrespectful to her? Does this other young teen look like he can protect her? Where are the men that used to protect the women at? That's all I'm saying about the young society. Can't nobody walk up and say nothing to my daughter. My daughter be like, "Ooh, daddy, my friends think you scary." That's good, because they ain't going to mess with you.
If we're more aware of all these things, being transgender and gay is not something that should be ashamed of or make.
Totally agree. You should not be ashamed of what you are. However, you should not look for acceptance from the world either. Be proud of yourself. I don't look for the world to tell me it's okay to be black. It's okay to be straight. No, I'm me. I don't agree with needing validation from anybody externally. And I hope that the young generation who is so proud to wear everything on their sleeve start being proud in their heart as well.
You feel less in today's society. That is why women are fighting for equality, because this idea that because they only have a mom, they're weaker, or because, they're more sensitive, that's, in my opinion, completely false.
And I would say in the environment that I grew up in, the teen pregnancies come from girls without fathers. The homicides come from people without fathers. Every girl that I know, if they grow up with a daddy, they get married before they have a kid.
Facts.
Why do they not have fathers?
If you want me to be real, because a lot of women make bad choices on the men they procreate with. If you make a...
And you condescending ass little boy trying to put that on black men. Let's talk about the Great Society and LBJ and how it was planned to break up the families. See, I grew up on Section 8. And one thing that I remember vividly is every year we had an inspection. And we had to hide all of my dad's things to pretend he didn't live with us. Because if my dad did live with us, my mom would be kicked out of her home. And then my mom would work summer jobs. And if my mom worked more than 3 months, we would get a letter from the state. Hey, you're making too much money. You either quit that job or you don't have a place to stay. So government policies trap you. Single mothers raise single mothers. My mama always said, Johnny, if I have another kid, they're going to give me a bigger house. If you go have another kid, they're going to put you on more child support. These young men and women, I don't knock them, but they really don't understand how these policies work. Once you're on Section 8, man, you're on Section 8 forever. Literally. Once you're on food stamps, it's hard as hell to get off. But if you don't grow up in these environments, I remember food stamps, bro, when they was the dollars, not the EBT card, but remember the dollar, the paper bills that came in different colors? My mama was on food stamps my entire life. So I know about every government assistance program, and none of them help. They keep you tracked and they keep you stuck.
Bad choice, that's your responsibility. Every bad thing that I did in my life, it was when my daddy was in jail.
And why that is because how many young black boys got to be the man of the house at a young age? How many boys say, I just want to take care of mama. I just want to make sure mama got what she need. I know what that's like. But when my daddy wasn't in jail, I didn't have to be a man at the age of 13 and 14. And these teens on here, they still don't have to be men. They still have their parents taking care of them. As much as they can complain about society, they got parents with money. But my friends who was robbing, who was stealing purses, they thought that was their only way out. I turned 16 and walked to Crown Center and went to every store in there and asked for a job application. My first job paid me it paid me $5.15 plus tips. Fritz Railroad Restaurant. I was a server. All of the things, I won't say all, but man, I know so many people that are in jail for trying to protect their mama, for just trying to be able to pay their bills. We used to take an extension cord and plug it into our outlet and run into the house next door and plug it in so we could have power. We used to take water jugs and drive them to my Aunt Barbara's house and fill them up. That's how we took baths and wash-ups. We used to have candles all over the damn house and we didn't have lights. So when my daddy was around, my daddy made a way, bro, on God. But when my daddy was in jail, my mama was taking me and my brother to Pizza Hut buffet, and we was eating and then getting up and running out as fast as we could. And then the police was following us, and my mama was crying because we didn't have money. So you can keep this narrative, we don't need men, we don't need men. But go look at the jails and talk to how many of them men in jails don't have fathers, never knew their fathers. For Black History Month, I had to go speak to Hilltop High School, which is an alternative school for boys. And all those boys said the same thing, man, they ain't ever had encouragement. Ain't no man ever told them that they could be great. And I'm talking about black boys, white boys, all of them. Because we pretend that white people just got this privilege. Look at how many white boys are growing up without their father now, without their grandfather, who being told that they just are bad people because they white. Parker's little skinny ass ain't got no privilege. Look at him. What privilege does he have on this show? None. That's a mental thing that he feels that way. I got a lot more privilege in this society than a lot of people simply because of how good I look. And that's factual.
Dad was out and I had my dad's reassurance, I was a better person.
I had one daughter that had to move across the country to get rid of a toxic relationship with somebody that was harming them.
Why does the woman have to move across the country because the man is being toxic? Why can't the man be taught, don't be toxic?
Oh, I agree.
Women nowadays have to.
Because the man probably didn't have a father. Did you ever think about that? See, as a dad, what I can say is I love my daughter to death, man. Love her to death, would die for her at any second in my life. I cannot teach her how to be a woman. I cannot sit here and pretend that I know what it's like to be a woman day in and day out. And it'd be extremely hypocritical for so many moms to say, oh, I know what it's like to be a man. I can raise my son and teach him the right way to do this. You can't. And until we acknowledge that both parents are needed and extremely important, we are going to keep getting the society we have. Because young boys need their fathers. I say it time and time again, I wouldn't be the man I am without my daddy. He wasn't perfect. He never had the greatest job or none of that. But watching a man in my life every day, I learned the good things from him, and I was able to discard the bad side that I learned from him. But the average man right here is it's like training on the job. You 18, you're a man now. Go do it. And you're like, I never did this before. What? Oh, you'll figure it out. And then you start learning you're toxic. Oh, you can't do that. You can't say that. That's rude. That's sexist. So you spend your whole life tiptoeing. F that. If you a young boy and you watch this show, be proud of yourself. Stand tall in who you are. Black, white, yellow, green, blue, brown, red. Man, be proud of who you are. And don't let nobody tell you that you less than because of you a man or because of your skin color. Go out, work hard, and they can talk all that trash late now. But eventually they're going to be saying how they went to high school with you or how they know you or how you this and how you that. We paint such a negative rep on men. And then women grow up and turn 30 and say, where are all the good men at? Well, y'all talked so bad about them their whole life that they don't want nothing to do with y'all now.
To deal with those kinds of relationships. The mother knows better, I would say, than the father about that.
Why? Why would you assume that mothers are better parents than fathers? Why wouldn't you just say mothers are needed and fathers are needed? Why is there such a divide? I just want to know a good argument of why fathers are not important. Why don't children need their daddies? Somebody explain that to me.
We're not more sensitive. There's just more opportunities for us to be sensitive. You can say like 15, 20 years ago, there weren't videos of black men being shot by police.
There weren't, but I was still seeing black men shot by police 15, 20 years ago. We lived on East 51st. I love dropping stories. East 51st Street was shootout from two houses across each other. My mama woke me up to put me in the bathtub just in case the bullets came through the house. They wanted the bullets to hit the bathtub because if you grew up in the hood, you understand bullets ain't going to penetrate that deep. And we would call and you would get put on hold, believe it or not. You would walk to school and see blood still on the stain. But because the masses of the world didn't see what was going on in inner cities, we didn't know about it. And that's what Martin Luther King talked about. Man, y'all don't care. Everybody's liberal and everybody putting black squares on their Instagram and putting pride flags up, but y'all don't really care because y'all not going into these environments and talking to these kids and asking what it's like to grow up in that environment. How did it affect you? Like I said, all the negative press I've got from this show, I want somebody to talk to me. Ask me what it's really like to grow up in the hood, to see guns in your face, to watch bodies drop on a consistent basis. And then I want you to think about how you would have survived in that because you live in your nice little area and you think the world is stressful. I think the world is beautiful. It is abundance for everybody. There is no lack of anything. You can have whatever you want.
Police all over the internet. Now that that's there, people are more inclined to feel a certain way or take a stance on that topic.
Do you think it would be more beneficial to show police also interacting with white guys? Because more white guys get killed than black guys by cops.
If you look at the amount of white people and the amount of black people, there are going to be more white people killed because there are more white people in America.
So if there's more white people in America, then would you be able to say why black Americans account for 60% of violent crime? I just want to know the answer.
America, the percentage of black people that are being killed is higher than the percentage of white people.
Just
black people are being killed by black people, bro. The number of homicides trump ridiculously the number of police shootings. If you care about black lives, care about all of them, not just the ones that are on TV.
because you're pulled over doesn't mean you have to resist. I mean, they don't just kill you when they pull you over. It's all about based on how you perform as an individual. I've been pulled over and never had a bad interaction in my life. When I was rude, I got snatched out the car. Everything is a personal choice, and you can't take accountability for your life, and you will forever be a slave.
That's not.
And man, look here, I was a speeding little mofo. I don't know a young boy who don't speed. I had a Monty SS. I done had a Challenger. I done had a Charger. I had to go to a live at 25, believe it or not, because I would not stop speeding. So they made me go to this class that cost like $2,000. I had to sit there and watch this documentary of Princess Diana dying and blah, 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 and take a test about it and get a little certificate that says, I won't speed anymore. It didn't work. You don't want to know what really made me stop speeding? Becoming a dad. Looking over and seeing a car seat in the back. That's what made me slow my ass down. It wasn't the police. And if you think that the police can control how an individual conducts themselves, good luck.
That's true. There are definitely issues on the side of policing. Black communities, majority Black communities, majority POC communities are over-policed. There's larger patrols in Black communities. There are police work longer hours in majority Black communities. So there's an issue from the policing side as well.
Why does everyone have a perspective of the police in the Black community, and it's never people who actually live in the Black community? Like, I'm sure, Murph, if you come walk around here, go walk on 27th and Monroe, go to 23rd Street, go to 12th Street, go to Independence Avenue. Just walk around and ask the people over here how they feel about the police. You'd be surprised how many police officers be pulling up to the basketball. Man, the narrative that's painted to the mainstream and that the news can hijack is a lot different than the individuals who live in these neighborhoods. That's all I'll say. And if we're so tired of police and there's no men and everyone has children, why don't you grow up and create your own police force? Right now, I'm sure there's a project or a ghetto where there's 13 little boys. Grow up and raise them to be policemen. Raise them to be firemen. If you're tired of other people coming in and dictating how your community should work, then why don't you police it yourself? Right? Because that's an option. Everyone can apply for a job. Everyone.
Politics has damaged my relationship with a loved one.
Ad coming. And I want to say, man, they edited my segment on this question.
I'm sure.
I haven't lost a friend, a family member. Every kid at the school still loves me. I was just in a Royals commercial. I just got to go to a Kansas City Royals game and throw out the first pitch. If you lose friends over politics, you got to reevaluate your life. Because if you really care about somebody and love them, and I love you good, bad, ugly, right, or wrong. I'm going to tell you what you did is wrong, but I ain't going to remove my love and my heart for you. But this new generation, if this is control, if we can only be friends if we think the same, then we ain't really friends.
You could relate to this as well, but in the Asian community, there's a lot of anti-Blackness. So with the...
I would say in the Black community, there's a lot of anti-whiteness and a lot of anti-everything. Every community has biases, and that's just normal. We're humans. Stop pretending that other groups of people are the only ones who... Man, listen, if you get around some all Black people, and it's only Black people there, you're going to be shocked at a lot of stuff you hear. Oh, my mama.
Advent of the Black Lives Matter movement this past year, having conversations with my parents was really difficult, especially around the...
Most Black people know Black Lives Matter is a joke.
Nuances of racial justice and sort of like what the movement was fighting for and how to articulate that in like the very closed mindset that my parents had.
A lot of my family voted for Trump in the past election, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't like to say this, but it made me...
How do you feel about Joe Biden's policies right now? And shout out to my guy for falling off that bike. Hey, man, stop letting that old man be out by himself like that. That ain't cool.
They view their morals a little bit differently, and they're willing to adapt and change was so different, and I was just like shocked because I wanted to understand their side and really talk about it, and I was met with, you're wrong, and we don't want to talk about it, and that kind of really damaged.
And I do think that's a problem. I do think parents should be willing to have open discussions with their children, even if they disagree with them, because you have to evolve. And if me as a dad, if I don't listen to my daughter, then of course she's going to go listen to the world. And that's why I say as parents, we got to change the way we move. I got insight because I work at an elementary school. So I really get to be around kids all the time and see how they think and see how they move and say, well, you ever thought this way? You ever thought that way? And I don't push anything on them. I just give you the idea because I just want the idea to be in your head. And you take it and you do what you want with it. But if you've only heard one set of history, like my whole life, all I ever heard was about Black Democrats. And then I looked and saw Booker T. Washington was conservative and Frederick Douglass was conservative. And then Martin Luther King was a registered Republican. Hold on, what? Then I started reading about Malcolm X and I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Then I got into The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Then I read The Negro Problem that was published in 1908 by Booker T. Washington. Man, that's what you need to do. So as parents, and dialogue with your children. Talk back and forth with them. I 1,000,000% agree that when your parents shut you off, that's totally wrong. And as I say, man, I'm so complete because, man, I had so many open conversations with my mom and my dad. Like, we really talked about life. There was nothing hidden. Everything was transparent. And I'm the same way with my children. And so if there's parents watching this and you want to have a better relationship with your kids, whether it's political or about economics or whatever it is, man, show them that you're a real person. My kids, I show them pictures of me when I was a child. I tell them my favorite cartoons were. I'm open with them so they don't look at life as dad is trying to mislead me or dad is trying to tell me how I should feel. No, because I'm not in control of you. I just want you to know both sides, and then it's up to you to make the proper judgment.
It's just kind of the way I looked at them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I also think that it just made me less willing to expend the energy to have political or just like any like hard conversations with my parents or anyone else in my family.
That's very unfortunate.
My name is Rithwick. I'm 18 years old and I'm a liberal. I grew up in a low-income immigrant household, and I think the systems that are in place right now.
He 18. Hey, they need to send his ass to the military right now. He need to lift some weights, get up early. He needs to see what it's like to be a man already.
Aren't sufficient enough to support people, Americans like myself or my family. Because my parents were immigrants, I think they were liberal on issues like immigration and things that directly affected them. I'd like to ask to the conservative parents why they don't necessarily listen or adopt their own beliefs, whether political or social, based on the conversations they have with their children and why they're so set in their ways.
Oh, for sure. I think that's why me and my kids are different. My kids are my dogs. But the kids that I coach in basketball I'm a firm believer you can't just talk, you got to walk. And everything that you hear out of my mouth, I'm a living example. I wouldn't say anything that I don't believe is 100% true. But I'm also saying this. When I was 18 years old, bro, I was outside 31st and Prospect, 6 a.m., ready to vote for Barack Obama. I was driving around picking up old people. They had the T-shirts, the We Shall Overcome. Man, look here. They were selling water bottles, incense, everything. I remember when Obama won, they announced that he won. I got in my car and rode around. Everybody was shooting. DJ Drama had just dropped a mixtape with Lil Wayne, and DJ Drama said, this is the first mixtape you bumped while you had a black president, all that. And you know what? Nothing changed. Nothing ever changed. And that's when I start opening my mind and reading policies. I stopped being emotionally moved by he's black. Oh, he's hanging with the NBA players. I start really reading and understanding the policies that Obama was putting into the world and how they was affecting my life. But not only me, how they were affecting America.
You know, I read a lot of the tragic stories where family members don't talk to each other anymore. Personally, I think that's sad. Do all my family members vote the same? No. Do we have a pretty good idea of how family members may have voted? Yeah. But we went more of.
And you can let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't feel like this is a black family thing. I can't see a black family breaking up over politics or because of who you voted for. My aunties don't care. My grandma don't care. My grandpa don't care. My cousin don't care. I walk around with a Make America Great hat again on, a T-shirt. No one cares. So as I say, man, y'all got that ain't got nothing to do with me. Y'all got to figure that out. Why y'all put politics above family? That's something that each individual family got to sit down and have a come to Jesus moment about.
Agree to disagree. I'm not going to not buy you a present for Christmas because, you decided to vote for somebody that I don't like. Give me a break. Families are special. And we've got too many people, as you've talked about, that don't have them.
As you've talked about, you see how you said that? Now, that would have been very important to put on the show to show how I was saying how important families are. Man, growing up without a mother and a father, I couldn't imagine. Because when I say it was hard times, we was poor, but I had my mom and my daddy. I really didn't know people grew up in single-parent homes until I got like in 7th, 8th grade. Honest to God. Because we didn't have a house phone. I went to school. I went back home to my parents, and that was it. So to see how I couldn't imagine being 4 and then growing up that whole time not knowing my dad, or watching my parents divorce, or just all the negative, ugly, toxic things that come with society. I couldn't imagine being a kid going through that. And I'll keep going back to, man, real love and real privilege is having two parents that love you and care about you. Because my mom and daddy had a crazy amount of domestic violence. My auntie and her husband had domestic violence. But individually, I knew that these people cared about me. They loved me, and they always told me that I could be anything in this world. That's what's needed from your family. I hope kids watching this show and adults watching this show understand that politics is not more important than the people who love you and care about you.
When I took this prompt, I kind of took it more of like my view of the person changed differently because, not because of the way they voted, but because some of their values to me were, like you said, moral values, and that shows kind of part of their characters.
Would you say that morality is subjective to each individual person, though? Or would you say morals are the same across the board?
The basic is human equality for all. And so if you don't believe that somebody should have an equality based on their gender, their sexual orientation, or their race, or anything like that, that's a moral problem in my eyes.
That's a huge thing with the trans and the gay and the LGBTQ and all that whole thing. So I grew up LDS, being Utah County, it's like 95% Mormon. At 8 years old is when you get baptized. And so if you're raised around where 95% of people think the exact same way, I feel like that's too young of an age where you're a child and you don't really know what you're doing. And so where I have a problem with the trans or these different things is they're getting kids at like 10, 12 years old and they're pushing them down that path.
Who's they?
Who's they?
Who's indoctrinating these kids into becoming LGBTQ and et cetera?
There's a lot of groups out there.
Like?
I've just heard that there's groups out there. I don't know. You don't think there's groups out there that do that?
No.
That was a bad moment for my guy right here. And Parker got a little off the backboard slam dunkage. There's a documentary that just came out by Matt Walsh. I think it's called What is a Woman? I believe that's the title. Check that out if you haven't seen it, and come back and share your thoughts.
You're a straight man, so I think it's weird for you to comment on the queer experience and what that's like for someone growing up.
It's weird for him to comment on the queer experience. How many times did a young boy reference the black experience and growing up in the inner city and over policing? How many times did he reference that? See, why can everybody and their mama talk about the black experience, but when you talk about something LGBT or something, hey, you don't know about that. But literally, show me one politician, somebody. We're standing up for the black. How about you let the black people stand up for themselves? If we can do anything, how about we back away and let Black America take care of Black America? Let's do that. Since you saying that a straight man shouldn't speak on the queer experience, I respect that 100,000,000%. If you're not black, you shouldn't speak on the black experience. Is that where we're going with this thing? Just let me know in the comments. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just human, so I'm always willing to learn. I know you keep saying the teens on this show, see, man, their parents won't listen to them. I'm down to listen because I don't think I'm better than nobody. So let's conversate respectfully, my young brothers and sisters.
Who's struggling with those experiences. The way you're describing it as indoctrination, people who are figuring out their sexualities and their queer identities aren't necessarily going to ascribe to the first labels that are put before them.
If I'm not mistaken, the brain isn't fully developed until you're 25 years old, correct?
Yeah, correct.
So I know how I used to think at 16. Man, I know how I used to think at 21.
Bro, if you would have came to me in kindergarten and said, Johnny, did you know you could be a girl? I'd be like, what? That would have just threw me the hell up. Man, what are we doing? When I was in elementary, I wanted to be a Power Ranger. It was between the red Power Ranger and the white Power Ranger. Both of them was pretty dope to me. I can remember being in the 5th grade going to see the Pokemon movie, and I really thought I was Ash Ketchum, dog. I used to, gotta catch them all. And now we've just took kids from their innocence, and we teaching them about gender and sexual orientation before their brain was fully developed. I wouldn't be covered in tattoos. I wouldn't have had children at a young age. I wouldn't have been shooting guns. I wouldn't have been walking around the mall drinking cups of lean. None of that stuff. But my brain wasn't fully developed.
Man, I'm not against kids doing whatever they want. It's just the older you get, you change. I got my first tattoo at 15. I'm covered now. If I was a little older, I probably would have waited. When you're young, you're not thinking. And everybody has made a bad choice. And because you stressed out, you go change your gender. Because you want to try something new, once you do it, you can't go back. The more you throw stuff at kids before they developed, that's indoctrination because you're trying to get them while they're not fully cognitive to know what's going on.
The older you get, the more conservative you become.
Yeah, buddy.
When I got older and I had kids and I had a family, I actually started reading policies. Everything about me changed when I became a father because I had a reason to. And I'm sure you would agree with that.
Yeah.
And my kids in my life, dog. And I believe a lot of men love their children. You know, it's a lot easier to pay child support than it is to raise a kid. You're not really hurting anybody when you just put them on child support. If you want to change society, let these children be raised with their fathers. We've seen the effects of the single mother epidemic for the last 20, 30 years. And then we can look at the stats before the single mother effect. And we saw with the family unit, it was going this way. This is how the trends are going with the single mother unit. Let's try with the single fathers. Look at everybody who's watching this video. Like I said, y'all smart. Google single father statistics and watch how responsible fathers are and how they put their children first. And then once again, I'm not saying mothers are not important. Let's not twist this there. But I have 2 baby mamas. 1, 2. My kids live with me. You know why? Because they mamas acknowledge it's better for them to be with their daddy. Facts.
I've gotten older and the environment we're in right now, I feel like they're trying to cancel the Constitution. They're trying to cancel Christianity.
I mean, most teenagers are liberal. I was liberal when I was teen. It's fun. Culture is liberal. So and when you're younger, you're going to be a part of culture.
Right.
When you're older, you're trying to raise your family. You don't have
And, I mean, because you don't see many politicians speaking out against Joe Biden. Not politicians, I'm sorry, but rappers, athletes, entertainers. You don't see anything of culture speaking out against the left outside of the Tyson James, the Bryson Tomper. There's a few rappers and artists that criticize the left, but all the mass mainstream ones, your LeBron James, your Steph Curry, shout out to the Warriors winning the championship. They all riding with Obama. The Charlemagne the Gods, all of them. Literally, if you can show me something mainstream that isn't liberal outside of Kanye, let me know. Put it down in the description. Because I've been raised to be liberal. My children right now, if I don't influence them, they're going to be liberal. They teachers at their school are liberal. Where are y'all at outside in these small rural towns? Because I understand there probably are some areas where it's hella conservatives, won't lie. But in these mass populations in these cities, bro, like I said, I don't run into conservatives around here. I really don't. When I tell people my political views, they be like, damn, bro, that's dope. It ain't nothing negative. It's never negative. It's never beef. It's wild. It's just cool. I like to be enlightened by people. So to my young liberal kids, man, keep growing, keep learning, and hopefully when you become a parent, that you care a little more about your household and what's going on inside of your home and how you raise your children.
time to care about what LeBron James said or who did that. Just when you mature, you value what's around you.
Got another ad coming? Oh, shout out to my guy, Sean. Oh, who was? Yeah. Okay, we losing weight on this one. Health is wealth, baby. Health is wealth.
My name's Sean. I'm 36 years old, and I'm a conservative parent. My dad's kind of my idol. I've seen him basically build a very successful life and seen how simple he's lived his life through prayer and through just basic conservative principles.
That's one thing, man. Never be too proud to pray. Never be too proud to pray. Never be too proud to pray.
Raised up LDS or Mormon, I saw a lot of just judgment, and so I don't necessarily believe that you have to be in a religion.
And I'm almost sure they hold my guy out in this sermon. Man, come on, cuz nobody is 100% anything, man. That's so fake. This show wants to create division, and that's what we got to get away from. If we really want to prosper and grow in America, as we say, if we really want unity, then we got to stop letting news sources manipulate people. Like, regardless of how you liberal teens feel about me and what I said, y'all should reach out to Jubilee and say, hey, why'd y'all lie about this survey score? Because that's something we all should want to know the answer to.
Religion, but I do believe in prayer. I've been all across the board as far as the way my life has gone, and at my happiest times, I've lived by conservative values.
Building off of what you're saying about like teenagers, we're a different generation, and so
I live my happiest times by thugging. I'm just kidding.
we view the world differently, and I think that's probably why you've seen more teenagers be liberal, because we just view the world that way, but I don't think it has anything to do with
No, my generation, I was liberal too when I was a teenager, and all my friends were too. And when
Has there ever been a generation of conservative teens? I mean, now I think is the most conservative kids I've ever seen in my life. But has there ever been a generation of conservative teens? If you could let me know in the comments, I'd appreciate it.
You're a teenager, life is fun. It's just totally, you kick it, you party. So that's what I'm saying. I get the teenage. As you grow, you either can run away from responsibility or embrace responsibility. When there's real things going on, you start looking at life a little different. Versus when I was young, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about corporate gains tax, and I didn't know about my stock account, and I didn't know that I can, all these things that I didn't know when I was a kid.
So when people are generally talking about taxing the rich more, they're talking about the top 400 billionaires that are literally paying a lower effective tax rate in taxes than the middle class. The top 400 billionaires paying an effective tax rate of 8%, that's obviously not.
Why are we taught to hate millionaires and billionaires? Do you not aspire to grow up and be rich? You don't want to have abundance of wealth? Do you not think there's an abundance of opportunity for everybody in this world? I want all my teens to go check out Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret in the World. Then I also want you to check out Self-Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And just let me know what you think about those books. They may change the way you view life and you view wealth. And if those books don't get you, there's a couple more. James Allen, As a Man Thinketh, is a really good one. And then Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Everything you see around you starts as an idea, and everyone who is wealthy works for their wealth. They're no better than me. They're no better than you. If Obama could be a millionaire, if Will Smith could be a millionaire, if Jada Kiss and Tyrese and Lil Wayne and Bow Wow and Lil Nas X and Cardi B and Lizzo, if they can all be millionaires, then so can you. Greatness is inside of you. Don't be envious of them. I'm happy when I see somebody hit another million. I'm happy when I see the stock market go up, because that let me know it's available for me too. The riches of this land are available for everyone, but you have to believe that you deserve them.
A fair share. And I think obviously everyone can agree here that they should be paying at least a fair share, right?
How do you increase taxes on someone's assets, though? Most of those billionaires aren't.
Unrealized capital gains is how they're specifically trying to do it now, but it would be through long-term capital gains, because a lot of the people who are paying those taxes, they're paying capital gains tax rate. There's also tax loopholes that have been lobbied into Congress by big corporations and big businesses lobbying politicians.
The same big corporations who are celebrating Pride Month like never before.
To get whatever they want.
So if you get older and you work yourself off and you become a multimillionaire, you deserve to pay more because other people didn't work as hard as you?
But it's not because other people didn't work as hard as me. It's because we, as a society, want to give everyone access to things like basic necessities like health.
Hey, on God, I got 30 friends right now still living with their mama. And you know what they saying? It's the white man's fault. We went to a school and the white man didn't teach us nothing. We went to a public school and I was in the same schools with them. I didn't have lights in my house. Didn't have food a lot of the time. Still was able to go to school. And even though I didn't do the best in high school, I'm still successful. I'm still successful. Everyone can be successful.
Healthcare, education, have everyone have an equal opportunity. We don't have that right now.
You can have equal opportunity of a baseline, but the outcome would still be different because every individual is going to work different levels,
well,
correct?
Obviously, yeah.
Right, so I think that's where we are as a society. I was able to pull it off. I graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA. I don't have a college degree. So the only limits are the limits you place on yourself. That's just my perspective.
America.
And something else I wanted to add to that, because I know a lot of people was like, you can tell that he didn't go to college and blah, blah, blah. You know how these young kids are, man. They just really idolize things that aren't important. So what I did the other day, and you can do this as well, is I looked up the 10 richest men in the world. And you know something that's missing from that list? The college that they went to. Because it doesn't matter. Most of them didn't go to college. You don't need somebody to spoon feed you. Remember when you were a little baby and you don't know how to eat? So your mama put food in your mouth? They do the little airplane. But eventually you get a little older and you say, nah, cuz, let me feed myself. Right? Why can't you educate yourself? See, school will make you a good worker. I want to be wealthy. And the wealthy people, they're self-educated. Never stop learning, never stop reading, never stop growing. Because in these books, that's what a real wisdom is, man. There's so many books that have changed my life. Read Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Read Nietzsche and the Nazis. There's a book called Black Fortunes. Did you know right after the Emancipation Proclamation, there were 4,046 millionaires, 47 millionaires in America? 6 of them were black. So who knew that we had black millionaires all the way back in the 1860s? Who knew that? Who knew that there were black slave owners? There's a lot that's left out. So read for yourself, learn for yourself, think for yourself.
America is the best country in the world.
And let me preface this question by saying I've only lived in America, and that was before my YouTube channel had grew, and I had friends in Australia and Canada and New Zealand. Hey, I love y'all. Shout out to my people internationally. Y'all gonna have to hit me up so I can take a trip. I want to travel the world and see some stuff. So this question is, America is the best country in the world. I'm not saying that as far as a human, I think I'm better than anyone. I think every human is great no matter where you from and where you're born. We're all literally, we come out of our mamas wherever she was at. We ain't got no say so in that. I only spoke of America as the best country because, like I said, while I'm making this video right now, there's men and women and children trying to get into America to start a better life. It makes sense why so many parents are conservative immigrant parents, because they risk their life to get over here and create a life to watch their children say we need this, Y, and Z, and they understood they ran away from those same policies. So I get it, but to all my international people, hey, I love y'all, man.
I think despite all of our challenges and problems, when you look at all the other countries of the world, everybody is still trying to come here.
The way I can talk out loud, the way I can feel myself, the way I can express myself fully as an individual. It ain't many places black men can go do that outside of America.
3 years ago when I got in
Or is it? Let me know in the comments, man. Let me know. Hey, if it is, and I'll pull up.
the court systems and the different rights taken away from me and government control and government power. And so when you have that stuff stripped away from you and you realize most other countries don't have the freedom that America has. America has been the greatest country ever, and I think it will continue because of a lot of good people that stand up for the right things.
I think I would like to ask the question, what is America the best at?
I think we just was talking about the freedoms that we have here versus what they don't have in other countries.
So what about places in Scandinavia that actually have higher amounts of freedom? They have better
Have you ever heard anybody in your life say, man, I can't wait to take a vacation to Scandinavia?
democracies than we do here, higher quality of life, higher median income. They have healthcare systems that are more efficient, that take care of everyone in their population, more access to education.
But when you look at the big picture, everybody wants to come here. Millions of people are not trying to get into Scandinavia
Why?
because we have more opportunity than any other place in the world.
We don't even make the top.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, check this out. If America is so racist and sexist and all that, why would you be inviting so many immigrants here? Wouldn't you say, hey, don't come to America, bro. It's bad here. They don't treat you good. They won't care about you. That's what you should be saying. But the borders are open. And Biden is saying, we want more immigrants. So if we want more people, it must be because this is a safe, prosperous nation that's welcoming to all people of colors and creeds, right?
Top 25 in women equality.
But we have a better opportunity to do something about it compared to other countries.
She said we not top 25 in women's equality. Didn't Saudi Arabia just allow women to start driving in like 2015? Something like that, somewhere recently?
And I would love it for Europe to open their borders the way we have and see if you can get people from other parts of the world to do mass migration to Europe.
I was going to mention Scandinavian countries as well, but I think it's also important to address that Scandinavian countries are very homogenous, racially, socioeconomically. They don't face the same geographic diversity that we have. What you were mentioning with the fact that we have the opportunity to write with women inequality, why is that not happening? It's because the way our democracy is set up, our Congress is literally in a gridlock right now, as it has been for so.
Our Congress is not in a good gridlock when it comes to sending money to Ukraine, I can tell you that. If you needed Ukraine, we got it.
So many past sessions of Congress, we aren't getting anything productive done.
The opportunity we have here is incredible, and I'm very happy that I live here and not somewhere else, but we are so focused on, oh, America is the best, that we don't look at these other countries and say, why are all those people so happy, and what is that, and how can we incorporate that into our society?
I mean, I would say I think diversity is good. I think diversity of thought and diversity of opinion it's super helpful. It's really easy to get clogged up into this groupthink. So I don't expect anyone else to agree with me or feel the way I feel. I just expect you to respect my right to feel this way. I respect your right to feel this way, and we keep it moving.
100% agree. I couldn't agree more, actually.
Awesome, that's a wrap.
You know, going back and watching this now, like I said, I haven't seen it since I actually was on the show and then did my first reaction. And it doesn't seem that bad. I'm not sure why so many kids be sending me so many evil messages. But once again, Jubilee, I need y'all to holler at me about why y'all falsified my survey when you could see clearly as day that my bias score is 50% to the left. I'm a regular person who grew up in America, bro. I'm like every other black kid. I was indoctrinated my whole life. I had to learn about Thomas Sowell on my own. You think they was going to teach me about him in school? It ain't not one school in America that's going to tell you about Thomas Sowell at all. They just going to tell you about George Floyd and all the police shootings. They don't tell you about Huey P. Newton. It's a lot of black history that's left out of school, just history and period that's left out of these schools that manipulate people. But Jubilee, holla at me. Let me know why y'all try to make this look bad. Like, once again, young kids, you can do anything. You can accomplish anything. Your sexual orientation doesn't matter. Your skin color doesn't matter. Young boys, it is extremely unfortunate that the world is trying to tell you that you're privileged simply because of your skin color. You have to go out and work and create your value. Nothing is given to you in life as a man. You have to take what you want. And don't feel bad for taking it. That is your job as a man, to conquer, to dominate, to rule, to become the best version of yourself. You can do anything. You can accomplish anything. Young women, your job is to become the best version of yourself. But the path that society is leading you down with this hookup culture, and that you don't need men and that children don't need their fathers, it is extremely destructive. I got a stat right here from President Barack Obama. I know the liberals love him. Children who grow up without a father are 5 times more likely to live in poverty and commit crime, and 9 times more likely to end up in prison. So I think we need to take that in the full account going forward. Because as I said, the New Deal was supposedly for all Americans, and then there was complaint that it was racist. So what's going to happen next time when the Green New Deal, whatever policies, like right now we have Biden doing his thing, right? The same man who signed the 94 crime bill gave you Juneteenth. Hey, asking for reparations and getting Juneteenth to be a national holiday is like going into work and saying, you know what? We all think we deserve a raise. And your boss said, I got it. We're going to have a pizza party. It's the equivalent. And I'm not challenging anybody to, I want to think like Johnny. I want to be like, no, be yourself, be an individual. I say that was the worst part about Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. And when they fell off, the movement stopped. Every individual is the movement. Black, white, yellow, green, blue, brown, red. You can stand up for truth. You can stand up for justice. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I hope everyone has a super mega awesome day. Enjoy this video. Once again, Jubilee, y'all some hoes for lying about my survey. Until next time, we out. Peace.